All right. What's up? It's your boy, Matt Mason. Sound a little bit different, dealing with a little bit of a sinus infection, but it's a huge week, y'all. Gang, we're here. We have 2 Elite 15 doubles races this weekend that we want to cover. First up, though, we're going to start because we are American. We're going to start with the American race. And on today's show, to help me talk about what you can expect this weekend down in beautiful, sunny Miami, we have Michelle Navarro and Brakken Kraker. Michelle, BK, how we doing?
What's up? What's going on? Hopefully not going to get sick like you are. That's got to be rough right now.
Yeah, it is what it is. We'll be fine. I thought BK could probably resonate with this, although it sounds like he's got a better immune system than me. My son got sick coming back from DC, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be fine. And then I picked up something, and then sure enough, I have a sinus infection. We take him to the doctor today, and he's got an ear infection. So it's just like, once you become a parent, those kids, man,
that's it.
They're just freaking little germ carriers, super spreaders,
Rough.
But Kent doesn't feel bad for me. He's like, dude, you don't have a fever. It's all above the neck. Get out there and get that work in, out there doing Hyrox tempo workouts with sinus infection. But anyway, enough about me. Are we excited?
Compromise running. That's all that
compromise. Yeah, that's real compromise running. You can't 100%. Breathe out of your nose. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Who cares? I got Dawson, since we're talking Elite 15 doubles. I got half of raw Debo to pace me yesterday on a long run. It was great. We loved it.
What's long for you these days?
We did 9. I mean, not
9
long,
counts.
Not from a marathon build perspective, obviously, but I feel like that's kind of long for Hyrox training.
Yeah, I do 9 or 10. That's it.
I did look, because I saw, Michelle, that you also did 10 yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I did look at your pace to see what your zone 2 long run pace was versus mine. And you got me.
Yeah.
So I saw those 745s, Michelle.
It's 20 years of doing this, so I got a bit of a head start.
Yeah, we're out there talking about the run. I promise we're going to get into Hyrox Miami. We're out there talking about the run, and I just I felt bad because Dawson offered to do the run with me. And I was like, no, man, I know I'm too slow for you. And he was like, nah, man, I wouldn't have offered to do it if I didn't want to. And then we get out there and we're cruising and we're comparing heart rates. And I'm like, oh, dude, my heart rate's actually right there with you, Dawson. We're sitting at 133. He goes, well, I am running an inefficient stride. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay, Dawson.
Wow.
An inefficient stride.
An inefficient stride. All right. So here we are, coming down to the end of the season. We're less than 2 months. Actually, I think 2 months today until World Championships. The majors have been decided. All we have left is the last chance qualifier from a singles perspective. But now we are in the Elite 15 doubles territory. And I think we kind of thought whenever Hyrox announced this that it would likely be a big deal. And then we didn't really see the stars come out, so to speak. And, the first one most likely was due to the fact that it was down under in Australia and it was fairly early in the season. And we're probably not going to see high level athletes, travel in the middle of their major season to Australia. But then, Vegas, we had 3 or 4 high level teams. And then we had some good teams, but this weekend's looking stacked, gang.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, a lot of good people.
I guess, BK, Michelle, give me your thoughts, just so far with what we've seen so far and what we're expecting this weekend. Do you think that this is what Hyrox wanted? Are we getting that extra pizzazz? We're getting what Hyrox wanted?
They're getting it because from both sides is the best way for Hyrox to be getting it right now, because they have fast athletes coming out and doing this, from the best of the age groupers up to pretty much the best of the pros. But they also have world-class CrossFitters who are stepping into the Hyrox ring via doubles. And so I assume they're getting more than they expected out of this, because who had on their Hyrox bingo card Tia Claire Toomey? I don't think that was in the cards for this year, and yet she wouldn't be doing it if it weren't for doubles. So I think the first US one showed that it doesn't take world level, like world champion level partners to put a world-class time together. We saw 58 guys beat 53 guys. And as a result, I think now we're coming out of the woodwork. Everyone's like, oh, if they can do it, I think we have a shot here, and they're pouring in.
Yeah. I mean, I was just going to say,
Michelle.
it's just about the speed of this race now, too. It is definitely a different dynamic, really focusing on who can be the fastest. You're getting those breaks within the station, so it changes the game, and it changes the type of athlete that can do really well at the higher level.
Yeah, and like every week we're seeing over in Europe, we're seeing some men's pro doubles times that are, 53s, 54s, like, which, is not necessarily, wouldn't have been enough for Vegas when we did have some elite teams running, but BK, to your point, like they're not that far off. So if you are a specialist, like, I think this is pretty cool because there are probably going to be some athletes who, it might be too late for them, or they may not have the desire to go all in on that solo, that Hyrox solo journey, but they could absolutely go after that Elite 15 doubles, which actually a little fun mental exercise for you here. BK doesn't know that I'm going to ask this, but I'm going to ask this because another topic that we discussed yesterday on the long run was, is Brakken Kraker, could this be the way that BK breaks into the Hyrox Elite 15? I know it's been eluding him the last couple of years, but BK, I know that you're going to be, because you're a humble guy, you're going to say that, Father Time has caught you and, your competitive days are over, but BK, you still got some giddy up in those legs. You could still run with the best of them. So have you thought maybe next year that could we see a Brakken Kraker make a run at an Elite 15? Like, this could be right up your alley, man. Fast running, short output on stations. I mean, BK, this has got your name written all over it.
In a theoretical world, this is my only way in. I was, even back in college, I never qualified for NCAAs individually, but won a few times on a relay. And all my best, if you plug my times into a calculator, my best performances were always in a relay, and it wasn't even close. So yes, I'm a relay guy. I need a break. Power output, sustained over time is not my jam, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's not even Father Time that's caught up. It's Father Cartilage. All right. we're just not going to worry about anything but maybe doubles. Sure. Let's say doubles.
Do you think you could convince Kirk to be your partner?
It wouldn't take much convincing. The problem is he's chosen the one event that makes it hard to train for Hyrox at the same time, and that's the marathon. Yeah.
When's he running though?
Grandma's, I believe June.
Oh, but BK, I'm talking next year.
Well, who does one and nails it and is done? He's going to do one, then he's going to have to do another spring one, and I'll find a partner. I'll find a dance partner. But I don't think anyone needs to stay up worried about.
I'm just saying, if BK put it out, if you know what, I'm going to put it out there for him. If you are a high level athlete and you're looking for someone to tango with, sounds like BK's open. It might take some convincing. You might have to pay for some plasma injections for cartilage, but it does sound like he's not against it. So
no, I love it. I've done 6 Hyrox, 4 have been doubles. I'm a fan of the doubles.
If you're looking to dance, BK still got it. He still got it. I'm just saying, I think this could be you. Now, the other question is, if another little fun hypothetical for you, there's rumors that next year you'll be able to qualify for Worlds via relay. So
I'm your relay man.
Could we get a Wisconsin, a Scotty relay?
Yeah,
so to speak. We get a little BK, we get a little raw Debo action, and then who's the 4th best male in Wisconsin? Probably, was it Paulzine?
To be respectful to Wisconsin, I'm not the 3rd best male. Maybe for a relay option, but in terms of Hyrox PRs, Paulzine's ahead of me. Matt Gross is ahead of me.
Oh, I didn't realize that Matt Gross was in. Was okay. So we got options.
Born and bred.
Okay, that's my fault.
That's my fault.
All right, we got options.
Yeah,
we
we
got
have options. We'd be a nasty relay. Let me run and do some burpee broad jumps and stay
That's
out of
it.
the way when the
Just
weight
be
comes
done.
in. Yeah,
Just be done. Just be done.
yeah.
All right, we'll transition to Miami before if Rich is listening to this, he's like, I'm turning this shit off.
He's already
listening. He's already gone.
He
He's
doesn't
already
listen
gone.
to this.
He doesn't listen to this, but if he did, this is the point where he'd be like, all right, I'm turning this shit off. All right, Michelle, let's start with the dudes. Do you by chance have the races that have already happened? Because Hyrox, if you're listening, which we also know that you're not, it would be really cool if we had World Championship qualifiers webpage for doubles, just like we did for singles.
So,
Michelle, do you by chance have the men up?
Yeah, so they do have
Oh,
it.
it's a drop down.
Yeah,
I take
it's
it back.
only for Melbourne. So I put Houston up. But was there anything else? Has it just been those two?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just been Melbourne. Okay, so Hyrox, I apologize.
So they do have it,
wrong.
but it's not updated.
Did you have? Okay, so this should be fairly easy then. The teams that have already qualified for and where they qualified out of Melbourne, Chris Woolley, Tom Rogers, Tanguy Cruz, and Daniel Payne, and then Peter Moss and Tom Fransons out of Melbourne. And then Michelle, you want to hit us with the Houston race?
Yeah, for Houston men, let's see. James Kelly, Jake Dearden, Marcus Wallace, Dawson Miller, and Jeremy McConnell and Dylan Scott.
All right. That is where we are at. 6 of the 15 are taken. We will have 6 more taken this weekend. Up first, Miami. But BK, it sounds like you're about to say something.
Well, I think this exemplifies the beauty of the doubles, which is how many legit world podium contenders are on that list. If you polled the masses, survey 1,000 people, how many would get votes? 2, right?
2. Dylan and JK.
Yeah, and Hunter has proven that you take arguably the GOAT and pair him with just about anyone you can find, and it's not a guarantee of doubles elite performance. They've been very good all the way across the board, but they haven't set a record. And so the great thing about doubles is that finally we've had this in OCR and we've had this in hybrid in both sides, is you just put together an all-star team and you win all the relays as well. And it kind of becomes like podium fatigue for viewers, I think. Is always just put the 2 best together and they can't be touched. That's not the case in Hyrox doubles because the sport is those 2 events are so different that there's no guarantee of success from the 2 best doing it. And you can put together 2 skill sets who know how to work together and you see this kind of result. So I love the fact that you're seeing non-elite 15 athletes punching their tickets.
Yeah. I mean, not to go Wisconsin bias here, but like the streets knew about Raw Debo, the streets being BK and me, and everybody else was like, oh no, they're going to be fighting for 3rd or for 4th. Right. And they took it to some high levels. And I think I agree. Like, I think that's the cool thing about doubles is like, even Dylan, he raced with Jeremy. Guy can run. I mean, Michelle and I saw it firsthand. Like the guy can run. You don't have to have, you don't have to necessarily be the best solo athlete out there in order to be competitive. Actually, let me look at Jeremy McConnell's PR.
And it takes people over the anaerobic line that they don't necessarily have to cross, and you find something different on that side. It's a different skill set, and this finally rewards it. Yeah.
This is not a good example because he has not raced a solo. Jeremy McConnell has not raced a solo since 2023 when he did Glasgow. So it's probably fair to assume that he would be better now. But it was a 110. And that was an
join in the 70-minute club. The doubles in 70-minute pairings, a nasty combo. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah. And it's, it's interesting to that point, BK. I'm going to go ahead and read off the names. We'll start with the men.
That's my PR, Michelle.
I'm going to read off the names of the men, and then we'll go through. We can decide how we want to go through this once I read them. But like, we don't necessarily. I mean, we've got some people here that some people may not even be familiar with, but they could be nasty in doubles. So these are the teams that we know of. So I just want to preface this by saying, if you are coming to race Hyrox Miami and we do not mention your name, that is because we are recording this at Monday night at 5:00, and the start list has not been released. So this is going off of what we could piece together via text messages, Instagram. This is like it's nothing personal. This is just what we've heard through the grapevine. So we got probably the favorites: Rich Palayo, Rich Ryan, and Palayo Menendez Fernandez. We have Ryan Kent and Rylan Shadegg. We have Kieran Parkinson and Tony Revel coming over from Great Britain. Actually, this is their second crack at it. They actually went down under and raced in Australia in that first race and took fourth. Then we have the elite CrossFitters of Noah Ohlsen and Chandler Smith. Then we've got David Magida and Mark Gaudette. Then we've got Stephen Pelkoffer, Keith Hardwick, Colin Stiefer, and Jack Driscoll. And then Nick Riker and Jarrett Newby. So I think at first, like when I was thinking about this a week ago, I was like, okay, it's Rich and Palayo, Ryan and Rylan. And then for third, it's probably a battle between Stiefer, Driscoll, and then Pelkoffer and Hardwick. But Magida threw his hat in the ring with Mark Gaudette. I did not know that Riker and Newby were racing. You got to imagine that that's going to be a decent team. Kieran and Tony are. I think I need to validate this, but when I looked, they've actually raced together quite a bit. And in Glasgow ran a 52:30, which I mean that is going to be, depending on the course, like that could be competitive. I think that might be just a tad. This is no disrespect to them. That might just be a tad slow based on what we saw in Houston, but based on what we saw in Melbourne, that would have won it. So, I mean, it just kind of depends on who shows up that day and how the race is run.
It's also if you're racing your competition as well in the same heat.
100%. Which this is fun because even in Houston, there was really 4 teams. There were some other no disrespect to the age groupers that threw their hat in the ring, but it was the top 4 teams. And then there was a couple minutes difference. And so it really was those 4. Just reading off of that, like there are probably 5 or 6 teams that are going to probably be in this the whole way. We're going to see someone's going to crack. Like we're going to see a team crack.
And we're going to see pack racing, which is so cool for 2 reasons. One, pack anything is always better in endurance sports, but 2, Hyrox courses are not designed to facilitate groups of people all racing through. And doubles, even with that 1 lane gap in sleds, it's not enough if they both decide to transition on the same side. And we saw it with burpee broad jumps, and you see it with farmers carry and walking lunges. It is too congested, which is frustrating for them, but it's really, really good from a spectating perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And it relies then upon good strategy and teamwork, which is the teams that know each other better, who aren't just teaming up on race day, could have, like, I would say, a 30-second swing just through communication.
100%. Yeah. Things change when you're on the course too. You might have a strategy going in, but you have to be able to adapt on race day, especially if you're trying to keep up with or beat whoever else is on the course. Things will definitely change. So you have to have excellent communication skills between one another.
Yeah, 100%. So how do we want to do this? Do we want to put them in like groupings of front runners, kind of that mid pack, and then dark horses?
I mean, we can, yeah, but to me, it's like the Elite 15 guys and everyone else. And I don't think there's even to me, I don't even know if there's favorites in that group.
Mm-hmm.
We can try to sort them.
Okay. So, all right. I think that if there were Vegas odds, because we like to talk about Vegas odds on this show. If there were Vegas odds, you would probably put the favorites are probably Rich Palayo, for the sheer fact of, one, they still have, I believe, unless something has changed, I believe they still have the world record. Let me just verify this really quick for the doubles.
The open.
Yes. They still have, they are still the world record holders for the doubles. And other than Tony and Kieran, they're the only team that has raced a pro doubles together. So I say that because, I know Ryan and Rylan like bulletin board material, and so I will not become bulletin board material. They have a high ceiling, but they've never run this race together. Sure, they've run Hyroxes separately, but like I feel like it typically takes even like whether it's a doubles or a solo, it typically takes a race to kind of figure out, okay, how are we gonna do this? And Rich and Palayo have done a pro doubles together. They did one in Anaheim 3 weeks before Nice last year and ran a 50-51, which would have been good enough for a tie for second, I believe, in Houston this year. So they've like Rich and Palayo have run together 3 or 4 times at this point. So they're probably the favorites. Is that fair, BK?
For sure, it's fair. And you take people who already have elite skill set in the pro field. Like Rich Ryan is a top 5 in the world at sled pull. He is a back half runner. He is proven to go unbroken on wall balls in a pro singles race. Palayo is a back half runner who has proven to be able to close on just about anyone in a single pro race. And they also have track backgrounds. I mean, Rich Ryan was like a 411 miler in high school. So the anaerobic side is very, very, I don't want to say comfortable, but they're comfortable in that environment. So you take pro racers that can grind with guys who are faster and twitchier than anyone else in the field, and they've done it before. I see there's no world in which they shouldn't be the number 1 seed.
Yeah, the experience for sure outweighs anything else. When you have more time being able to do this, especially if you have been through backgrounds that have relays like track, you know, like it becomes effortless at some point in your mind how to tackle these things. And yeah, there's definitely you kind of need that on race day.
And I had Rich as a partner. We ran the North American Doubles Championship together, and I got to see what he's like. And he's the type of person that can pick up cadence on any station. Like you watch him do sled pulls, and his feet and hands move faster than the people around him. He does wall balls. He moves quicker. He transitions quickly. Palayo's kind of the same athlete. They're a great player comp. So their strengths match up, and their work rate's just kind of hard to fathom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Hyrox, Hyrox is not, I mean, Hyrox is a running race, but it's a different kind of running race. But doubles is a running race.
Mm-hmm.
And for both of them, their strength is their running. And actually, Palayo might be the strongest runner in the field. And he gets now granted, he's working harder, but he's getting that break, which allows him to tap into something. Then the next team, though, that is like really interesting to me, though, is the Rylan Ryan team. This is kind of a surprise. It kind of came out of, I don't want to say came out of left field, but it came together like very last minute.
I'd say that qualifies as left field, these two.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think, I don't think he would mind me saying this because he's been pretty open that it came together last minute. But like, I think Kent felt like he feels like he's back. And he was itching to go to Barcelona. I think he believes that if he was in that Barcelona race, that he would snag a last chance qualifier. I think he feels like he's kind of finally got everything he's been going through behind him, and he just needed one more chance to show it. But unfortunately for him, he's got a 2-week-old at home or a 3-week-old at home, and his wife fairly and rightfully was like, "Yeah, you're not going to Barcelona and leaving me with 2 kids and a 3-week-old." So he's fit, and from everything that Rylan's been posting, Rylan is back to being Rylan, which makes them all the disclaimers aside, makes them a scary team because they both can also run, and they're 2 of the better like station guys in the field.
I was just going to say that, like, they can run just as well, and I would be more fearful of how well they station just solo. So putting them together, I can't wait to see that.
The funny thing here is that Rich, we were just talking offline, like, where does he rank in the history of the sport now for having 2 sub 55s, right? And Palayo is obviously as consistent as it comes. But in terms of top end race performances, both Kent and Rylan are better than Rich and Palayo in terms of just what they've won on the big stage. So top end performance, and in terms of we have never seen Rich and Palayo attack a front end station.
Yeah.
Kent and Rylan delight in thrashing themselves on the early erg and on the sled push and on attacking the first 3 runs. So from a top end scary perspective, these two, barring not meshing up as teammates or not having it on the same day, these two have as high a ceiling as any team we've seen.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, PK, because you probably know the two of them the best. I think that they could be really good. I also think that they could accidentally crack themselves.
They could. We saw it with Hunter and Sandy.
Yeah.
That Sandy
That's
was
actually that's the
person.
comp that I was thinking of.
Yeah, Sandy was the first person to match Hunter's freak, you know. and as a result, they came up a little short. They worked so hard. Sandy was rowing 129. Like, in no world does that set you up best for lunges in the run. So we might see them keep pressing each other, where Rich and Palayo will accommodate for each other at the highest level of sustainability. And I don't know if Kent and Rylan will find that flow on course or not. If they mesh, it's going to be lightning in a bottle. But we just don't know what's going to happen out there, and especially since they're both great front runners. Like, you give Kent the lead and you may never see it again.
Right.
Do they front run together? Can they?
Right.
Can they both have it? I don't know.
I mean, they both gain momentum when they win like the race in the first half.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is going to play super well to their strengths, because they will attack it really, really hard. And if they gain momentum, they're just going to keep going.
Does anyone beat them off the erg to start?
No.
When does the race switch? Because in my mind, they are leading this all the way through through sled pull for sure. And then at what point from end of sled pull to finish line, where do you think because we've said that Rich Palayo are the favorites. When do they become the favorites? At what point in this race?
Well, they're the favorites because of the experience, but I think that's kind of the point. They're the favorites because of the experience. But you're right. I think that the top end of Rylan is greater, but we all know it doesn't matter if it's singles or doubles. You have to come back somewhere. And I feel like where we saw moves made in Houston, other than Raw Debo making moves on the sleds, we saw moves made on the burpees.
Right.
And that is a strong station for Rich Palayo specifically.
Yeah.
So, and we saw some like 20-second swings there.
Yeah.
So like they could eat back into it. And Rich and Palayo are also very strong on the row, but how much time can you gain? I think the other thing too, though, is like, to give credit where credit's due, you are right. Rich has turned into like a top 5, maybe even top 3 sled pull guy by himself. So like, how much time do we think okay, so we don't think anyone's coming out faster than Rich and Rylan, or sorry, than Rylan and Ryan on the ski. But how far back realistically do we think that Palayo and Rich are coming out? 10 seconds at max, then push, maybe another 10. So maybe there's a 20-25 second gap, but Rich could eat that back and then they could make it up on burpees. I think it depends on how fast the running is. And I guess the question is, as a team, who do we think are the better runners? Rich and Palayo or Ryan and Rylan?
I feel like it might play to Rich and Palayo's strategy to always be chasing on the runs, because they have the ability to kind of like settle into something. And I feel like they might have the sustainability to like pick it up if they need to catch up a little bit to Kent and Rylan that'll be out in front, as if we're expecting correctly. I feel like it might play to their strength to just stick with their strategy and the experience that they have, and try to navigate the pushes from the other team and just be smart about it.
Yeah, I think the biggest advantage to Rich and Palayo are that they're rhythm runners, and they can run that rhythm in any situation. If they get past, they're going to keep doing their thing, because that's how they always race. They always get past or start out behind, and then they just run and find their rhythm and do what they need to do, and they can modulate it. Whereas Rylan and Kent, they're surge runners. and they run off. It looks like emotion and adrenaline. When we've seen all three of those people, actually, other than Palayo, the other three have all won DecaFit World Championships.
Mhm.
And Rylan and Kent won theirs from the front.
Mhm.
And Rich won it by eating up those guys when they
Yeah.
overextended slightly. And then he started pressing and pressing and pressing. So we could see the very same things play out either way, but it's going to be I think, a different style race between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd put like, if I had to put Vegas odds on it, I'd put like Rich and Palayo at like plus 125. And then I'd probably put like Ryan and Rylan at like plus 150. I mean, I don't think it's like a huge spread. I think for me, the storyline that I thought that my mind really went to for Ryan and Rylan is they both need this as individuals just as much as they do as a team. Rylan has been battling injuries for the last 3 to 4 months and hasn't been able to race the way that he's wanted to race leading into Worlds. This is a chance for him to come and, test his fitness, even though it's a different type of race, but race high level, give him some momentum going into Worlds. And then for Kent, like, it just feels, BK, like this could be the thing that is the spark in the next, like we've been saying, like, when is Kent going to be back? Like, when is the Ryan Kent that we know going to be back? And maybe this is the best possible race for Kent because he's a momentum guy. And if he goes down to Miami, and I know it's a team's race, but if he throws down, that is going to fill that dude with piss and vinegar. And he is going to just stew about not being in the Elite 15. And that could be the thing that like snaps him back into place. And he could be a problem next year. That's kind of what I thought whenever I thought about this.
Yeah, they have more to lose and to gain. Where I think if one of them starts to struggle to hang on to the other one, that could just reconfirm all their worst fears.
Mhm.
Where if Rich and Palayo start to struggle, they probably have a code word in place already, and then they're just gonna change up by 1/10 of a mile per hour and just reassess and go. So it will be interesting if suddenly one of them is starting to put a gap on the other on a run. What does that do to that team dynamic?
Or counterpoint for Kent specifically, he has been very open about like when he goes to that dark place, not wanting to necessarily push through. And is this the best possible scenario because Rylan won't let him quit?
I think it's also just being in a doubles race. You have, it's not, I don't even know if pressure is the right word, but it's, you want to perform well for your teammate as well. It's not just about you. I feel like with people in certain individual races, you could feel bad about yourself and then just kind of give up mid race. When you have someone else on the line with you, you have that extra like oomph to keep going. So I don't know if that'll be a problem for them. I think that they'll just continue to feed off of each other and it'll be more exciting just because it's the two of them together.
Yeah, Kent's like he's one of those like a streaky shooter kind of guy. He just needs to see one go in. And it doesn't matter if it's a doubles or not. If he fabricates some momentum right here, there's no reason he's not right back.
Yeah, and he's going to Atlanta the next weekend.
I heard that.
Like he could pop. I mean, this could be the start of the comeback.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, for the sake of time, we're gonna move along. I think most people probably agree that those are the front runners, but that is no disrespect to these next few teams. I think the team that I want to talk about first is the combo of Colin Stiefer and Jack Driscoll, because we've already seen Colin Stiefer make a run at this with Grayson Kilgore. Grayson is not racing in this race because Grayson is all eyes on Barcelona and the last chance qualifier. They ran a 52 flat. This is a solid team. Jack Driscoll does have some giddy up. I think his PR, I don't think he's broken an hour yet.
So
but
close. So close.
Yeah, he has been so close. He's going to do it. He ran a 60-58 in Houston. He has run some fast doubles before. Shout out Team Reach. He ran a 55-17 with Taylor Haney in Fort Lauderdale. So we know he's got that top end. My question for you two, who are big road runners, the biggest thing that I think is going to be affecting this team, and Jack, we're boys. You know, I've got nothing but love for you, dog. but you did just run a 2:46 marathon literally yesterday
Yeah.
in Jersey City. And I would be concerned about recoverability in 5 days to be able to go the pace that they need to go to be competitive.
I don't want to put limits on any athlete, but there's no way you get that out of your system in 5 days. The systemic damage at a cellular level, at a nervous system level, he's not going to be recovered. And the place that's going to show up the most is reaching for extra, going faster, digging, recruiting more muscle fibers. They are destroyed right now because 2:46 was not a tempo for him.
Yeah.
It's a great performance. And so he
It was
had
a
to
15-minute PR.
You had to use something in that race. I mean, Michelle, you can speak to it as much as I can. That there's no way you can do well, sure, but it's going to be on a sliding scale. You're not yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I did the doubles pro, I'm sorry, mixed doubles the day after doing just a Hyrox pro. Like, it's not 26.2 miles, but you're going to feel it. It's a lot, but again, like, if they have a great strategy, then maybe they can figure it out. They only gotta be top 3, right, to qualify. So
the problem is you can't parcel up the run. That'd be the
you
one
have
thing
to do
you'd
the
want
entire
to
thing.
parcel up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Matt, who do we talk about? I'm blanking on her name. She ran a marathon prior to the second to last or last Hyrox major, and we were concerned about a 2-week gap between. Or no, was it Dearden?
Dearden did it in the fall. He did Cape Town.
Yeah, and then someone else did it. A female did it.
Simone?
Was it Simone? She did it. There was a 2-week turnaround or something, or 1 week. Anyway, point is, we've seen this at the pro level, and we're concerned that 2 weeks was not enough. 5 days is not enough. I respect it, but you're crazy.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, I love Jack Driscoll. I think he's a great dude. Was it Tanya?
Maybe we were talking that she had just run a pro doubles and
Yeah,
just
she
came
run a
back
pro.
to another
Yeah.
doubles and she faded.
Yeah. Dearden is the one we know did it for sure. He ran the London or Paris marathon, one of the two, and then 2 weeks later was in Cape Town and ran a pro. I love Jack Driscoll. I think
He's
again, I don't want to put limits on the dude. He literally went to his gym and bench pressed 315 last night.
Right afterwards.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't want to put limits on the dude, but you're right. Like, you got to think 246 was a match for him. He burned a match, maybe a couple matches, and 5 days is just not a lot of time. And yeah, you can't really parse out the running. Now, that being said, Colin Stiefer is a dog. We are talking about the Deca Strong World Championship. Colin can put out some crazy numbers on the stations, which may help. He also, the other day, he did something crazy. Like, it was something ridiculous, like 10 or 12 by 1600 on an assault runner with like 90 seconds float. It was some like absurd workout. So I know the dude's in shape. We know he's competitive. We know he's hungry after Houston. If Jack's body can hang on, like, maybe they can just will each other mentally to push through. But that being said, there are some other really good teams here that are gonna be fresh and are gonna be there to potentially eat him up.
Well, that's the problem, right? With Colin being a monster on stations, they can lean into him there and save a bit of Jack for his running. But that is a coping strategy, not a qualification strategy.
It's fair.
Yeah.
If he's fresh, they're my pick for third.
Yeah.
But he's compromised.
Yeah, I think going into it, that's kind of what I thought. But I do think that this team coming over from the UK, Kieran Parkinson and Tony Revel, I do think that they are someone that people need to take note of. So they have raced together quite a bit. They did travel to Melbourne earlier in the year. They took fourth. They ran a 53:21. They just did a tune-up in Glasgow, ran a 52:39. So they dropped 30 seconds off their previous pro doubles best. They have raced together a ton. They raced together at Worlds last year, ran a 54:44. And I think that they're a team that they're going to be in it. And if anyone falters, they could eat you up. And they even said that they don't intend to come to take fourth. My guess is the reason why they're doing this is, one, they probably want to get a Miami Beach vacation, but two, if it doesn't work out for them, they'll probably, I would guess they would race London Excel, because that's the last shot and it's local for them. So this is them taking a crack at it.
This is a free shot for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they're good. Looking at their Glasgow run times, their average pace was 3:34. Workout total was 21:20. I mean, they sled pulled in under 3 minutes. They pushed in 1:40. They skied under 3:30. They burped in 1:45. Rode at 3:40. Lunges in 2:40. Wall balls they could definitely do faster. It was a 3:44. But I mean, that's a solid team, and I definitely think that's someone to watch out for. I want to turn this one over to you to give the background and context on Brakken, because you know these guys definitely better than me. Michelle, if I'm wrong, I think he knows them better than you too, but you can keep me honest. The old salty dog, David Magida, and the OCR legend, Mark Gaudette. Are you surprised by this?
I should be. I mean, I want to be, but then you're like, yeah, of course. They always pull stuff like this. I don't think anyone in this field's raced together more than these two men have. And they've done it across multiple sports. And while Gaudette's not steeped in Hyrox experience, he's a dog. And he's one of the people that if Magida gets rolling on the runs, I don't even know, like, does Magida have wheels right now? I'm not sure. But if he does, Gaudette can run step for step with them. And they've won a Decafit championship together. They're good at this type of thing. We just have never seen success in doubles pairing speed with strength. It doesn't pair well in this. So we don't know anything about
strength.
That. He's speed. He's speed. Yeah. I mean, I
thought Gaudette's background was, I thought he was really good at like the Spartan ultras.
He is.
And tough ones.
He is. But from a running perspective. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's a fast ultra runner. He's been top 10, maybe top 5 at the JFK 50. He has an ultra world championship. But he's fast. He'd be like if Rich or Palayo went to the ultras instead, but he's slight of frame. He's also an Army. He's been in the best Ranger competition. He may have won it. He's just an absolute machine, and he's tough. He's just small.
Magida's got, to answer your first question, Magida's got wheels right now. I'm looking at his DC race with Dylan. These were their run times: 3:31, 3:15, 3:19, 3:21, 3:19, 3:21, 3:23. Last run was long. I think the only person who went sub 4 in solo was Lauren Weeks. I think even Dylan in his solo race went over 4 minutes, and they ran at 3:59. Now,
so even short laps, it's still in the high 20s per split.
Yes. And then their rock zone time is not showing accurately for some reason. So I don't know if we can get that. But so they were running. Now, the problem with this race for them is that, and again, it's a different partner, but it's a 51:05, and that's with open weights. Yeah. So, I don't know what that does to them from a pro, but in theory, like, to answer the question, can Magida run? I think the answer is he can run.
Great. They're fun to have in the field, and no one's worked together more than they have.
All right. And then the other big name team that people would probably know is Nick Riker and Jarrett Newby. So the king of goofy games and the fittest man in Tennessee, I believe. Is that still his title on Instagram, PK?
It's probably second fittest man in Nashville.
Second fittest man in Nashville.
Probably fittest in Nashville or something. Yeah. It's Nashville though.
Fittest. It's regional. It's regional. What do we think about Riker and Newby?
Didn't Jarrett Newby get like second to Dylan in the Go Ruck Hyrox in DC last year or something? I know he's up there.
He beat him by like a second.
Yeah.
I think it was like Dylan's like third race.
Yeah.
But Newby raced in Vegas recently. He did a 60 flat in a pro. And Riker has been what's the Riker line at these days, BK?
Him. Was he 64 mid?
Yeah, I think it's like 64 mid.
Yeah. He still embodies the Riker line. I don't care if he's made world podiums at DecaFit. They're a fun team for me.
Yeah.
Because Riker is, for as much as we give him crap, an absolute dog. And he is the type of teammate you want to have. And Jarrett, you would think of as a grindy athlete because of all his ruck prowess, but he's a 148, I believe, college 800-meter runner. He does not struggle going hard. His whole life was high intensity intervals until he found rucking. And so he will pair well with this style of competition. And he's a college MD guy. He ran relays. That's not going to be an issue for him. Riker, even though he went to like some podunk NAIA Blue Mountain State school that was canned after a sophomore year, he still ran middle distance in college as well. He's lived on relays. So they're the fun team.
Mm-hmm.
They're the wild card team, just out here to disrupt all the people who are trying to qualify.
100%.
Is this the kind of team, BK, in your mind, that like what we talked about at the beginning, that like they may not necessarily be the top end, they may not necessarily be like the top end elite guys, but this actually might play to their strengths? Because like Riker is competitive with a lot of these dudes in Deca, which is a shorter, like a little bit higher output, shorter duration. Like this could play to Riker's strengths. And if we know Jarrett's got that dog in him. So, I mean, they could be right there to eat people up too.
Yeah, this is that team where the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, so to speak, where they may be a 64 and a 60, but they combine to be like a 57 together. They're going to be in the mix. If they crumble, it'll be like by the lunges or something. I don't think they're going to be out of it prior to that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then another notable team, shout out to a Scotty boy who now lives in Carolina with Dylan, Stephen Pelkoffer. He's partnering up with Keith Hardwick. This is going to be a good team. I don't think a lot of people are familiar with these names yet. But Stephen actually got 5th at the Chicago Pro Race with a 59.41. He followed that up with a strong 59.44 in Houston, which he took 2nd. And then he actually raced with the Hybrid Goose, Gus Mankey in DC in the doubles race. They took 5th overall with a 52.43. His partner is Keith Hardwick, who is a name that some people are probably a little bit more, or maybe more familiar with. Has also had a good season, ran basically a 60 flat in Chicago, ran twice in DC, ran a 57.21 open, and then the next day ran a 54.16 doubles race. So I know I'm friends with Steven. I know his intention is not just to go and race. They would definitely like to get one of these spots. I think just looking at their kind of strengths and weaknesses, I think that this is a team that if we do see kind of people kind of build up in the middle and crack, this could be a team that could eat some people up and sneak their way in there. Yeah.
But it's too bad Jack's not here to talk about this team because he just has like a man crush on both of these guys. They're just like they're the elite who everyone assumes aren't quite on the elite side. Like you would think a lot of athletes just would see them as leading the B pack, and they are not. They have made that jump up to elite athletes, and Jack just resonates with that. And I think we all on this show love that. The fact that these guys, I mean, we've had Steven went back-to-back 59s, right? Like as quiet
in the US,
as anyone's done it.
Correct.
Anyone else does that, and we're talking
and he
about
hasn't even been racing for 2 years yet.
Yeah, it's just like they've both ascended, and I don't think they've got their flowers. And for that alone, I'd love to see them wind up making a splash here.
Yeah. All right, we will move on to the women, but it is notable. We're not going to spend a ton of time on this one, but it is notable. We believe, unless plans have changed, 2 high-level elite CrossFit athletes, Noah Ohlsen and Chandler Smith, will be taking a shot at this. Chandler has raced quite a few Hyroxes. I think his most famous one was he did the one where he teamed up with somebody and they tried to see if they could beat Hunter as he was racing solo. BK, I don't know if you remember that race.
Oh yeah.
And then He raced, Chandler has actually raced a couple times in the last year. He did New York, Anaheim, and then Vegas with Dylan Scott. He has done pro doubles every time. He's right in that 56 range. Noah Ohlsen is coming off of training for I believe, an Ironman. So you got to believe his running is there. I just think that their top end running is what's going to hold them back. So I wouldn't expect them to necessarily be a podium threat, but it will be fun to see. And I think it will also help kind of contextualize, okay, we've got some really high level CrossFit athletes. Chandler actually just won the team's Wadapalooza not too long ago. So we have some really high level CrossFit athletes coming over, and then you'll get to see them against some high level and some ascending Hyrox athletes.
Yeah, it's just
okay.
We've seen it.
Yeah, it's got to be the running. That these guys are going to absolutely they're probably going to have the fastest station time, would be my guess. They're going to blast these stations. Yeah. So
I hope we see a good amount of these teams together in the same heat.
Yeah, hopefully they're all in the same heat. All right, real quick before we go on to the women, I want everybody just no explanation. Top 3 teams. Michelle, go.
Rich Palayo, Ryan, Rylan, Colin, Jack.
In order.
Yeah, that's
BK.
in order.
Rich refuses to listen to the running public, so it's absolutely going to be Rylan and Ryan. They are taking Rylan's L and passing it along, as he so eloquently stated. And then it's going to be Rich Palayo will hang on for a well-beaten second. And then give me Stephen and Keith.
I like it. I'm going Rich Palayo 1, Ryan and Rylan 2, but I think it is going to be a photo. I think it's going to come down to a photo finish. I think we're talking less than 10 seconds. And then give me Nick Riker, Jarrett Newby, BK. You talked me into it. Okay. On to the ladies. We don't this one, we don't necessarily know if we have as many teams. Again, no disrespect to any of the athletes running. This is just what we know of as of 5 o'clock on Monday, the week before. Okay. The teams that we have: the Canadian Maria Fetchik pairing up with the Aussie Jess Petro. This is a hybrid engine pairing. Gotta love it. Then we got Chris Rogloski and Katie Simonson taking a second crack at it. The reigning world champion, she's back, folks. Meg Jacoby and her best friend, good friend of mine, Camila Massa. Then we got Kat Fossbender and Kelsey Hochlittner. Did I say that right, Michelle?
We'll see. We're gonna have to ask her.
We'll see. I'm so sorry, Kelsey, if I butchered your name. And then we've got Bridget Brown, Tara Jackson, and then the OCR legends. Potentially the greatest of all time, BK, Nicole Mericle, and Rebecca Hammond. Were you surprised by this?
I'm surprised you said the greatest of all time, because I think it's Lindsay Webster all day, every day. But I am surprised by this pairing even more.
Isn't there debate amongst some of you? Or is Lindsay the hands down go?
I mean, there's always going to be debate. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, fantastic pairing. It's like this was a random draw that the universe just generated. Why now? Why here after all these years? I don't care the answer. I'm glad they're here. Because I believe if Rebecca Hammond doesn't leave the sport, she's an Elite 15 woman right now.
Ooh.
Bold.
She essentially did 1 year of OCR. She was second in her main debut race at the North American Championships, went on to take second at the Spartan World Championships at Tahoe, and then took second at the OCR Worlds 3K, and then transitioned and did a Hyrox. Her debut back in the day of 25-meter sleds was like 74, having done no preparation for it, and still had like a 4:36 or something. Don't quote me on it. Wall ball at the end of that, which to me speaks to not a pure runner.
Dude, the fact that how close you are on that is insane for a race from 2020. She was she was 74.07 and a 4:27 wall ball. That is
not terrible.
Nasty, BK, that you remember that.
Now, Nicole has no Hyrox experience that I know of. Don't quote me on that either. And as it gets heavier, she's going to struggle. She is not a strength-trained athlete whatsoever. But just the fact that they're here is already worth its weight in gold.
It's cool. I'm excited to see them.
Yeah. Since we started there, why don't we finish out? I mean, BK, realistically, there's no disrespect to the athletes because you obviously just both of them. Do we think that they're a potential podium threat?
I do not. I think if Nicole had dedicated her year to this sport and Rebecca had never left, you're talking about a legitimate power pair in this type of thing. They both run, quote me again here, 428 in the 1500, which is essentially a 448, 449 mile. They're fast. And they have the ability to put out their sports version of power. And Rebecca, I believe would have been an elite Hyrox athlete. But if one of your partners is not training for this, you can't do it. And they both might not be.
So this will be fun again for the reason of like, these are big names in OCR. And if there is anyone in OCR who doesn't know about Hyrox or isn't interested, I mean, it just gets more eyes from additional sources on the race, which will be cool.
And I think Nicole ran a 35-minute deck in her debut.
Yeah.
So she at least has coordination and the ability to do an erg. So it'll be fun at the very least. They'll be great on that first run. No promises beyond that.
Yep. This will be a good race. Unlike the men though, there is a hands, I feel confident saying this, there's a hands down favorite. It's Meg Jacoby and Camila Massa. Meg is back. We saw her do the ESN games. She just ran doubles in Cologne with Lucas Storath. Only 10 seconds off the world. I mean, Meg is back. I think, Jack, whenever you listen to this, if Meg is not on your top 5 and potentially in your top 2 for the rankings, I'm never letting you on the rankings again. She's back. He literally said the moment she toes the line that she's back. So she's got to be back. 10 seconds off the world record in her first race back. She's back.
It's not how power rankings work. I don't care about your nostalgia.
To be fair, we have left the term power rankings out. It's just the top 5 rankings. It's subjective so that we can have this exact debate.
Then I support it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I knew I could get you on my side over Jack's. That wasn't that hard.
She's still co-goat, right? She's still her.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, this could be like, if we're talking betting odds, this isn't even plus. This is probably minus. This might be like minus 200 to be honest with you. No disrespect to the other teams in this field, but Meg had the world record in the women's pro doubles with Linda previously. They ran a 55:02, which let me just see. I don't even remember what.
While you're checking that, I sent a message, but extend me to 5:30 here.
Gotcha. So she's only 30. They're 30 seconds off. Camila's fitness, she feels like, is back. I mean, there's no reason to think that this team can't put up a 55 low. Worst case scenario, 55 mid. And I think that's probably fast enough to win. They don't need to win this race. They just need to qualify, but that's probably fast enough to win this race, if I had to guess.
Yeah. I mean, the run is where it's going to be at for this one. And Meg has obviously put up some amazing doubles times, both in mixed doubles and pro doubles. And Camila's strong as a runner. We know that. So I feel like this is going to be an awesome pairing for them just to really take it to those runs and to put a pretty massive lead.
I also look at Camila. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
A bit in the Kent boat where she needs to see one go in. We've been talking about her just like Kent. Like, when are we just going to see it? And if this is that first step for her, it could be the last step. That's great. I want it to click.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and if Meg's not in the field, we talk about Camila as being the probably strongest female athlete. Like the stations are, I mean, she was the one that in Amsterdam, didn't she have like a 140 push?
So she definitely made up time really fast on this.
Yeah, it was absurd. She can put out work. They are going to be scary. I think that this is probably a team that is podium threat at Worlds, assuming everything goes right this weekend. They'll be right there in the mix with the Laurens and Joanna and Tia. Anything else we need to say about that? I mean, I think we pretty well exhausted it. All right. Then after that, be tough to say who I think is going to be
USA
second. What?
It's USA.
I mean, there's some solid teams there.
I think Texas is what we're going with.
All right, call it out.
Are they not from Texas? I'm getting a blank stare from Michelle.
I don't. You
Are
gotta
you
get
going
us the
Chris and
name.
Katie?
No,
So you're talking about Kat and Kelsey?
no. Then I guessed the state wrong.
Bridget and Tara?
Bridget and Tara?
They are Florida and South Carolina, North
Honestly,
Carolina?
to a Midwest person, it's all Texas. So I'm sorry about your state affiliations, but I think this team can win. I don't think they do, but I think they are the best current team right here left.
Yeah, I think that's extremely fair to say. They're both excellent runners. They also have some like really great just overall pro times in Hyrox, but I just think them more so in the Deca space and being amazing relayers. So this is going to play to their strengths really, really well. I'm excited to see this pairing.
Yeah, why don't you go for it? You guys got this one.
I look at this like this is the Raw Dog Debo combination.
Yeah.
I think they're going to complement each other well.
Mhm.
I think that their skill set is one that plays well to a relay. And I think they have that it factor of an athlete where it may not have come all the way through in a full Hyrox to the extent of a Meg yet. But together, I think that they mesh into just a really formidable team.
Yeah, I mean, again like thinking about more even like relay style, like you
Yes.
go, I go type thing. Like they do this so well. So the fact that they'll have some breaks and be able to play off of each other on the stations, and they're just going to feed off of each other on the runs. It's no issue for either of them to be at a top level. I mean, we've seen Tara team up with a bunch of like really elite guys for mixed doubles and do really well with Dylan and Colin. So like their top level speed is going to put them also up there. Like you said, like I wouldn't put it past them to be able to win this as well. They're really, really solid.
Yeah, I think, I mean, Tara hasn't had the solo season she's wanted the last 2 seasons, but she is still highly competitive against these names in the Deca arena, where it is shorter, high output. So I think you're absolutely right. I still think, just looking at, I mean, I don't know, because I don't think we've seen either one of them do a pro doubles race. The only doubles race that I know that Tara's done with a female partner recently
DC
is DC. She ran a 59:19. I still think Meg and Camila get into that 55 range. I think 55, no disrespect to Bridget and Tara. I think that's what it's going to take. I think it's going to take somebody in that 55 mid to win. But if there's any team that could do it, could definitely be them. And I think people forget Bridget has also run Elite 15 before. So she's got it.
And they will both thrash themselves.
Yeah.
And that is a very important key in a race like this, just the utter willingness to it. And I think that if you look at Meg's team, the only issue is they're also both willing to do so, but Meg has a bigger gap between her and her teammate than either of these two have in each other. And so I think these two drag each other to deep water and float together, and Meg might bring her to drown. That's the only potential issue that they could have.
Yeah.
Depends on if they're, I guess, challenged that way too, right? If they feel like they need to go, like Meg and Camila, if they feel like they need to go to that level, I'm not sure.
Right.
Yeah. We'll see. I think that a team that people need to watch out for is the hybrid engine team of Jess Petro and Maria Fetchik, because Jess Petro has sneakily, or maybe not sneakily, because she's already qualified for the Elite 15, has ascended this year. In elite races, she's got a 61.39 and a 61 flat.
Yeah.
She's got that dog. I'm pretty sure that is out of all of these women, I think that is the second best solo time, only to Meg. I don't think any other woman on this list has run a 61 flat. And Maria has struggled a little bit this year. She hasn't had some of the races go the way that she's wanted to. But she's pretty strong on those stations, and honestly, she's pretty strong running. She's actually had some of her pro races recently. Her average run time has been sub 4 minutes, so we know that she can run. So I think this is going to be a dangerous team And then you've got Chris Rogloski and Katie Simonson taking another crack at it. They actually kind of famously or infamously got third to Tia and Joanna, and then Lauren and Lauren, however, got beat out of the later heat by Elena Rukachaz and Morgan Schulz. But they did run a 59:25. This was a pretty decent. Oh no, I'm sorry. Chris ran with someone else in Chicago, but breaking the 60-minute mark in their first race together. Now they got a second crack at it. You know they're hungry. You know that they want it. This is a pretty strong podium threat.
Yeah, the fact that they already have one under their belts, they've got through some of the racing strategy. So coming into their second race is going to be much better, and that will put them right up there as well.
I don't think we're going to see this crazy 8-person pack that we see on the men's side, but we could see a relatively close race. At least second through fourth, I think, are going to be within arm's reach for the vast majority of the race.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And then the final team here that we know about that I don't know that a lot of people do would be Kat Fossbender and then Kelsey Hochleitner.
Yes.
Kat just ran a 59:30 in DC, taking third to Lucy Davis and Lauren Weeks. But before that, she ran a 64:48 in Vegas. In Chicago, she'd run a 66. She's been in the sport for not even 2 years yet, and is ascending. I think that she is someone who is going to be. It's not really a matter of if she gets in the Elite 15; it's just when. She's just starting to stack bricks. She's very competitive in the DECA space. And then her partner, Kelsey, who is probably not known by the broader community, but she is an RMR athlete training with Rich. She actually took fourth overall in Chicago in the Pro Field with a 65:59, and then also took fourth in a very tough Houston race. So, this will be their first time racing together. I think that they're a team that, again, the sum of their parts is probably has a fairly high ceiling, and that they could be there to eat people up if people fall back.
Yeah, I'm obviously very close to this team. So I am excited to see them team up together. Kat has continued to ascend throughout, the season in her pro and even the open races. So she's certainly got speed. So I'm not going to be surprised if she's going to be able to keep up on those runs with the top teams here. And Kelsey can station, man. She is strong. And so putting them together with the right strategy, there's no reason why they can't be in the top 3 as well. So I'm excited to see how all of these teams play out. Again, I hope they're together because I feel like that really does change up the race. But yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to strategy here for these teams. It's a tough one for sure.
All right. I think we did it. Same question, Michelle, top 3 in order. Hit me.
Meg and Camila, Bridget and Tara, Kat and Kelsey.
Ooh, BK.
Bridget, Tara, then Meg and Camila. And you know what? Just so I can make fun of her if she doesn't get it, give me Chris in third.
All right. We were all pretty much in agreement on the men. We are going to be very much in disagreement on the women. I'm going Megan Camilla 1. I'm going Maria Fetrick and Jess Petro 2. And then
yeah, they're third for me. I take it back. Chris can't get the podium. Jess.
And I am going to go. Give me Chris and Katie for third.
Bridget and Tara not on the podium.
Wow. I don't feel good about it. But you know what? You know what?
Material.
You know what I like about this though? It's all different. So
one of us is going to win.
One of us is going to win.
The recap show will get real confident for somebody.
Yeah.
To be honest, I agree with you that I think that Bridget and Tara are going to be a problem.
Mhm.
I think what I am banking on here for my own pick is Chris and Katie are doing this they've already done this together once. And I think in this race, I think it's the same. I think someone's going to crack. And I think having been there before, I think feeling it matters personally.
It does.
We'll see.
Yeah. In a crowd, especially, the experience shows through. It's
Yeah.
easy to get thrown off your game when someone's one-stepping you on either side of you.
Yep.
I can't.
But if Tara and Bridget win, I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
So. All right, gang. We did it. Do us a favor. If you liked what you heard, like and subscribe on YouTube. Throw us a like on Spotify. We're going to be back on Thursday talking about the Paris race. And then we will be back next week recapping all the doubles and seeing if we're right. Brakken, appreciate you jumping on, man. Michelle, as always, appreciate you too. Hope everybody has a great week. And hopefully, for the love of God, somebody stream these races this weekend.
We have no line on that yet?
No line of sight yet.
Help us out
honestly,
here.
The fact that I would say, if I was a betting man, Maria's race will probably be live streamed. Her husband, Mike Fetchick, will either stream it, I would guess, from her Instagram or from the Holistic Athlete, which is their program. So there's a good chance we'll see the women's side for sure.
Sweet. All right.
All right, everybody. We did it. Take care.
Bye.